So I'm Alex. So I'm so glad to be here. And the session is the first session after lunch for the first day. So hopefully you're not falling asleep now, and you will not fall asleep later, okay? I will count the number of people who left the room during my session, okay? We'll see. So here I'm going to introduce you about eBay's experience about how to build the governed self-service analytics ecosystem. So my focus is more on the methodology and also about the way of thinking about how you build your analytics platform instead of fancy new technology, okay? Technology issue. Okay, it's working, yeah. Oh. Okay, next. So I'm going to eBay, right? So most of the people here in the Bay Area should know eBay. So eBay is basically a marketplace. So we have building all these kind of components there as an ecosystem to enable our marketplace to connect people together for commerce. Next. So the strategy of eBay is basically do three things, right? So we bring the best choices for inventories on the platform, and then we build the most relevant experience for the buyers, and build the most powerful platform for the sellers. Next. Yeah, this is the eBay result for Q1. Next. This is the eBay's marketplace volume. Still doesn't work. Yeah. Okay. I just light on you? Okay. Yeah, next. Yeah. So this is the mobile. So everything is for mobile. Next. I'm sorry. So this is something like I must do. OK. So there are two key trenders refining commerce. So this is something at eBay we believe in hard. So there are three things we are looking into: the seamless commerce, the true global commerce, and the smart commerce. Ooh. It's even worse. So next. Yeah, so seamless commerce is basically talking about that it doesn't matter about you are on mobile or tablet or your computer, your experience should be flowing together, right? You can browse on your laptop, and then you can pick up the items on your tablet, and you can purchase on mobile. Doesn't matter. Next. So global. So this is one of the most unique part for eBay, differentiated with most of the companies in the world. That's also why eBay stock price dropped a little bit after UK decided something, right? So, so we have our 8 languages, and then almost 57% of the eBay business is international. This is huge for eBay. Next. So this is talking about the fancy concept for data science, right? So the reason why Internet Plus becomes popular, big data becomes popular, is because you want to inspire people at a scale. You want to be able to personalize item result for every of your customer. Next. So everything is powered by big data. So OK, so then next, thank you. OK, so whenever people talking about big data, so especially for technology people, you always look into 3 concepts, right? So 3 ways. That's like 6 or 7 years ago when people start talking about big data. You're talking about the volume, variety, and the velocity. For the past several years, there is the 4th V has been introduced. Next, please. Value, right? So basically, the concept is basically if you cannot unpack the value of your big data, doesn't matter about how advanced you are choosing the technology, how beautiful technology is, it means nothing. So next. Next. Ooh. OK, so before I get into the detail, this is basically something like at eBay, we build for every of our buyers. Every eBay buyers will build this. This is within eBay, we call our eBay buyer or eBay user DNA. This is basically coming from the big data. This is myself, so it's not leaking any data, right? So next. And next. So next, I'm going to introduce you about all the fancy concept about the big data at scale, about how big the big data at eBay is. Next, thank you. Yeah, so if you join some of the eBay session, you may see this page before, right? So basically, this is the statistics about the eBay analytics platform. So conceptually, look at it into this way, is that so technically, we are processing over 100 petabyte data every day. And from those 100 petabyte data, we're going to produce over 50 terabyte data every day. So our system is 24/7 online. This is because eBay is a global company, okay? And we have a promise about almost 100% of system availability. And we have millions of queries every day. Millions means at least over 1 million, right? Okay, thank you. Next. This is our technology ecosystem today. So you can see that we have both Hadoop and Ab initio for our processing engine. And on top of that, our computing engine, including both Teradata, Hadoop, Hive, Cassandra, Kylin, Kafka, and Storm. And then on top of that, we build our analytic solutions. Next, thank you. Next. So this is basically talking about another view about our system. The reason I'm talking about it here is because I'm going to tell you the real problem behind that, okay? So this is the environment we have at eBay. So this is how complex we have. We have over 5,000 active users accessing our system. So next. Next. Yeah, 20-year eBay. Yeah, next. So we built our product within eBay. So we built all the product covering everything. And fundamentally, we built our architecture and governance to enable everything. Next. So this is something called the 5 stages of your data warehouse, of your analytics platform. This is coming from the Senti enterprise model combined by Oliver Rosenberg several years ago. This is also the methodology that eBay is following for the past 10 years when we build our analytics ecosystem. So next. So the first one we're talking about is the agile data warehousing. This is a very important concept we have at eBay. We basically started this concept 10 years ago. Next. So first, you look at that. So at eBay, we believe that so you need to have multi-platform for different workloads and different use cases. So at eBay, our enterprise data warehouse including 3 different systems. So we have our Teradata providing us enterprise data warehouse. We also have Hadoop providing the most fancy system which is supporting unstructured data processing. And in the middle, we have something we call that a Singularity. It's basically another system we work with Teradata together. Next. 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 So with the cloud concept, this is a typical setup for your data mart in many, many different companies. Doesn't matter about you are in the public cloud or in the internal cloud, right? So you basically, in most of the companies, you have data mart. Every team have their own data mart set up in the cloud. The data mart with data mart is isolated. Everybody maintains their own data mart. So at eBay, we believe this is wrong. This is completely wrong way of operating your enterprise data warehouse. So that's why, next please. This is the way we operate at eBay internally. So we call that as a virtual data mart. It's everything together. What does that mean? It's basically that you will build your enterprise warehouse, which processing the fundamental data, and you make sure that reused data has been processed once, so that everybody can use the same thing. And then on top of that, so every department will have their virtual data mart built, but it's not isolated. So all the virtual data mart will be able to share the same foundation enterprise data warehouse data. And then all data mart will be able to talk with each other. Next. So Hadoop. Next. So basically, we build with the behavioral data. In eBay, we call that a behavioral data. It's basically the click streams, the server-side log data. So we believe that Hadoop is the best place to process them. So we build the Hadoop platform. Next. Collaborative analytics. So this is the third concept, right? So basically, when the company becomes bigger, you don't expect your scientists or the analysts to work independently. People must talk with each other, share with each other about their findings, talk with each other, discuss with each other. So you basically need to find out the way to enable people collaborate with each other, right? Because you no longer run with one chief scientist for everything. You run with hundreds of scientists, and then they work with each other. They share the knowledges. They share the findings. They discuss with each other. And also that it's not like a Facebook, right? So basically people is working in the enterprise world. So you need to figure out a way to encourage people to be able to share with each other. Next, thank you. Next. So at eBay, we basically tried a lot of different ways of doing this. So at 2009, we officially started to use Wiki for people to share the knowledges, right, to manage the metadata. It's an open catalog. Next. In 2010, we built our internal project. It's called Data Hub. It's basically a concept having Pinterest plus Facebook for data. So that people can like each other, they can share the knowledges. We are expecting people to get excited, but it still doesn't work. Next. Still doesn't work. In 2013, we start talking about, okay, maybe it's because it's not easy for people to share stories. Then we started to build a new product we call storytelling. We are trying to figure out if there is a way for us to build one storyboard so people can share the stories with each other. But still not very good. Next. In 2014, we introduced another concept. It's basically the concept that we build an internal platform called Answers Hub. So people can post questions. And we hire a bunch of supporting people looking at all the questions and find the answers for them. It's a labor-heavy work. We're coming back to the very traditional world, right? So doesn't work. Doesn't work for scale. Next. So 2014, later 2014, that's the time I moved to US. So we introduced a new product through a collaboration with a company called Alation. So we use Alation Alation is basically the concept Wiki plus LinkedIn plus a secure assistant. So actually this way works very well. So because this session is not talking about this whole collaboration, so I'm not going to introduce the details for that. But that's the way we believe. It's basically you need to have a Wiki idea plus the LinkedIn as a profession connection instead of people's personal interest to connect people together. And you must make sure you build a very, very smart way for your SQL writer because we still believe SQL is the most important analytics language for analytics. Right? So we need to figure out a way for people to write smart SQL, easy write SQL. That's the way we look at that. Next, thank you. Application platform, next. So at eBay, we redefined our enterprise data platform. So we believe that the enterprise data platform, including 3 different components. The first one is the traditional concept for enterprise data warehouse. At eBay, we build them based on Teradata and Hadoop. The second one, we call that as enterprise stream. So real-time becomes very, 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 very hot for the past several years, right? And it's super expensive, but it's very hot. We want to manage that in the right way, which means that we don't want people start the chaos at the beginning that everybody build their own real-time solutions. We want to use the same concept as an enterprise data warehouse, which means that you have a centralized team to manage the raw streams, to make sure you curate the raw streams and make that enterprise available, so that everybody will be able to use your real-time stream to build their own applications. Same concept as our VDM with EDW. So this is the enterprise data stream concept. And then the third one is for service. Basically, once you have the enterprise data warehouse data and the enterprise data streams, we want to make sure everything will be exposed through a service so that people can access the data through service for their own applications. Next. So this is our data processing ecosystem. This is super complex, right? So I used to have a animation, but I think I removed them. So basically, the concept is that you have real-time data streams, you have external data source, and you have our eBay side database, and you have the eBay server-side logs. The data come into the system. You have your traditional ETL processing engine. You have we have our own streaming data processing engine, and the data will be flying into the enterprise warehouse for both Teradata and Hadoop. And then will be used by the different customers for different purposes. And more importantly, that is that we introduced 2 very important concepts here. This is for the quality control. So here is before the data come in, we built a product called the DQ Firewall. This is basically the place for us to proactively check data quality. If there is any, you set up a set of business rules. And if there is any data didn't follow business rules, there will be a data quality issue detected here. And then all the downstream users were notified the data has something wrong. Because if you guys are working in the big data era, you're working in the data warehouse world. So most pain point for you guys is basically, most of the time you get data quality issue. But the data quality issue, 99%, I guarantee you, is never coming from your own code. It's because of your upstream system, right? So we built a DQ firewall. It's basically trying to proactively detect data quality issue. So our analysts were set up a lot of business rules. The data, before the data fly into the warehouse, we check the rules and make sure the data is qualified. And the second part is, we call that the DQ recon. It's because that at eBay, we not only have one cluster. As I explained to you, we have at least 3 different clusters. And then only for Hadoop, we have 2 different clusters. And then for Teradata, we have another cluster. And then for Singularity, we have another 2 clusters. We have over 5 clusters just for the batch data platform. So with them, you need to make sure your data on the different platform are in sync. So we built another tool. We call that the DQ recon. It's basically trying to help us to reconcile the data. Next, thank you. This is our real-time data processing ecosystem. Next. The 5th one. So once you have all of this, you have big data, you have data in the system. So you will feel that it's impossible for you to look at all the KPIs every day, right? So at eBay, we have hundreds, even thousands of KPIs. If you multiply with dimensions, with hundreds of different dimensions, you have millions of metrics every day. It's impossible for anyone to look at every business metrics. So we believe that you should build something which will be able to smartly detect if there is any metrics or is moving in the wrong way, it's abnormal, so that you can notify your related analyst. Okay, instead of looking at all these hundreds of metrics, just look at this set of metrics first. There might be something wrong there. That's what we call, next, thank you, signal detection. Internally, we call that a metrics movement. Next. Next. Yeah. Right, so this is basically most of the analysts' work, right? So first, you figure out what's abnormal. Then you figure out what is the root cause for that. So we're trying to at least automate the first one and semi-automate the second one. Next. Yeah, next. So what is missing? So we built a fancy, beautiful system. So we use almost every beautiful technology in the world. Doesn't matter about the traditional, old-fashioned, or for RDBMS, MPP, or for Hadoop, Spark, Storm, everything. And we built the biggest cluster in the world for both Teradata and Hadoop, right? We're providing unlimited flexibility for our customer to access the data in different fashion. So what's missing? Next. So this is the best slides I love. So this is my favorite slides. I may show this in some other sessions, right? So this is a typical IKEA job interview. You guys know what is this company, right? This is I moved to the United States from China 2.5 years ago. So when I started to shop my furniture for my first apartment, everybody here told me, you should go to IKEA. It's cheap. You should just go there, buy something. Then I went to IKEA. So we also have IKEA in Shanghai. Don't get me wrong. We also have IKEA in Shanghai, in China. But when I get in the IKEA in Seattle, and I figured out that they were not happy to assemble anything. To assemble the furniture, the price is even more expensive than just buy the furniture accessories, right? And one of my friends told me it took him 1 day to just assemble one bed. I was like, holy crap, that's ridiculous for me. Right? So actually at eBay, you almost get in the same scenario several years ago, is that when you come to eBay as a scientist or the analyst, and then we're going to tell you that we have everything there. What do you mean we don't have data? We have the data in Teradata. We have data in Hadoop. Whatever way you want to access data, we have that. Documentations, search on Wiki. Search on our internal website. We have all the documentation there. You just use the data. That's the exact same way of EKR, right? Next. Yeah, that's the eBay experience several years ago. Not today, several years ago. But I bet this is would be most of the experience also in many companies here, right? For your analysts, right? Next. 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 So basically, you have a diverse user community. We have scientists, we have finance analysts, we have our site analysts, we have other end users, we have our system consumers, data consumers, we have business analysts. Next. And also we're providing the different tools for them, different methodology for them to use the data, different tools for them to use the data. And they have their own different flavor. Next. So when all of this coming together, next, that's the bomb there, right? Because you're never able to meet everybody's requirements. That's what happens. Next. So the analytics environment at eBay. So remember I talked with you guys, right? So we have we grant direct SQL access for almost everybody in the company, which is very good, right? But as a result, next. 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 So because we're providing direct SQL access for everybody, every day we have over 1,000 emails being sent out by people manually about their finding for data. Imagine this, every day over 1,000 of emails just for data. Next. We enable people as a virtual data mart so that people can create their own tables in the system, right? As a result, we have over 10,000 tables being created there. Nobody knows why this was there, and nobody can kill them because you don't even know why they're there. MicroStrategy. We have MicroStrategy there, and then our people are very good, so we create over 5,000 reports for MicroStrategy. And then we introduced Tableau as the standard software for the whole company, for every employee. But as a result, next, we have over 10,000 reports created in Tableau and been staying there. And think about this. This is very dangerous. This is very, very dangerous. Look at next. And today, with the big data concept, we have all the great engineers coming to build data applications, right? So they are not going to use Tableau. Tableau is, oh, this is nothing, right? Everybody wants to build their web-based applications, right? Everybody wants to do that. You have D3.js, you have AngularJS, you have everything. So within just several years, next, in the company, we have over 100 of analytics apps. Every of them have their own name. You don't even know what does that mean. Next. So it's almost impossible for you to find out the right metrics and report. Whoever wants to access any data, it's impossible because even the people who manage the report, they still don't know why the report was created in this way. Because this guy maybe inherited this code from another guy, and there is a very strange code in the system, and they don't know why, and nobody wants to change them because you may break it, right? You just send out the email report every day. That's your job. Click, wrong, click, send. Next. But you still, look at it this way. But you still want to make sure people will be able to be self-service, right? So many companies stop doing the self-service analytics. But at eBay, we believe that it doesn't matter. You still want people to be self-serviced. In Chinese, there is a word saying that 授人以鱼不如授之以渔. This is basically the English version, I believe. Yeah, next. You know this guy is, right? Albert Einstein. What did he say? Next. We can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we create them. This is the way we're looking into how to resolve the problem 3 years ago. Next. So basically, we believe that you need to have a governed self-service, which means that it doesn't matter about self-service. You need to make sure that self-service is being governed. You need to introduce a discipline there. But how? Next. Next. I have a lot of animations here, so sorry about that. Next. 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 So these are the 4 key problems we have identified in our internal environment 3 years ago. What does that mean? First, incoherent. A good way is that you have documentations on Wiki. But the bad way is that there are too many documentation there. When you search for documentations, you don't know if this is the right documentation for you to use. You don't know if this documentation is for your problem, right? Isolated. So every application is isolated. Every report is isolated. You go to A wiki page, you got the A result. And you go to B link, you got the B link Tableau report. And you look into C, like say email, you got another email report, right? So everything there. And you maybe have a go, all these kind of applications. You don't even know the name. You don't even know what that means, but you go there. Somebody told you to go there to find something. You go there, right? So everything is isolated. Everything is isolated. And everything is disjoint. What does it mean for disjoint? It's basically that, so when you look at the report, you don't know if the matrix is, how the matrix is calculated, where the matrix is coming from, what's the logic behind it. You don't know. And you maybe have another documentation. You don't know if these two are relevant. Uncertain. You don't even know if you can trust the report, right? You don't know. You basically just, okay, somebody tell you to use this report, use this report. 3 months later, you maybe figure out you are using the wrong data, but you already make your business decisions, right? And even worse is that, most of your data processing system is still based on batch, which means when you are using a report, you don't even know if today's batch was finished or not. You may be using the data for yesterday. You don't know. Next. Next. So basically at eBay, so we built something we internally call that just in time use for all the knowledge management. Next. So we're trying to figure out how can we bring all the data product, all the user-facing product together in the governed way to manage them. Next. You must be able to make sure you have an easy find path so that people will be able to trace back for all the information between the front-end report, the underneath table, the back-end logic, and the logic owner. Next. You must be able to build your governance program and all the quality management system to make sure everything is transparent for a customer. And people will be able to trust the data. Next. Next. So this is basically what we try to do at eBay in high level. So basically, instead of having everybody building isolated applications and report, we try to build the unified self-service experience and bring everything together. Next. We'll be able to build, at eBay, we introduce this as an inside hub. It's basically kind of a Apple App Store concept as kind of our analytics app store. So all the analytics application must be registered and certified and managed before it's got published. Next. And then we work with Alation, try to develop a new experience for people for us to be able to providing a self-service experience for knowledge management and for metadata management. Next. 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 Yeah. Without the animation, yeah, okay. So, we build this experience. These are for the business users, and here are for the scientists and analytics. We manage them together. Next. The idea is very simple. The idea is actually very simple. And most people even hate this idea. Right? It's basically, we are going to slow down people's agility. But we're trying to bring a discipline so that instead of completely shut down agility, we try to find a balance. We bring in 3 new concepts there. Well, first concept, we basically call that a data asset certification. It's basically trying to make sure that whatever you got published, there will be a quality check. There will be a business certification. There will be a data steward. Not only the engineers, but this data steward for people to trace down. And then we create business glossaries. Business glossary is super important. So when you live in a Chinese language environment, maybe you don't need a business glossary. But when you live in the English environment, you may need it because I figure out that the American people are very good to create all these kind of abbreviations, right? Instead of giving a long word, you choose several single words there, like WA for Washington, right? So at eBay, we have GMV instead of gross merchant value. You have all these kind of things. But most of the company created their own word. It's very hard for people to understand them. So you must create a glossary for people to use them. And you must make sure they are managed. The last one is for where managed is basically for quality check. Next. Yeah, next. Next. Yeah, so basically we believe that adding governed self-service below these 5 different beautiful technology stages will be able to really generate business values for you. Next. But you still need one more thing. We call that as a purified data science. So next. Next. Yeah, just this page. Yeah. So in many company, you basically have the data science do both work. Prepare the data and use the data. So in our idea, in our mind, we believe that you don't want to have a scientist do the data preparation work, and you don't want to do that because you are wasting people's time. You have the right people to do that right work. Next. So we basically believe you need to marry these 2 different functions, the data engineers and data science together. And with that, you unlock the time of data science, and you make sure the data engineer build their data process in the scale, in a reusable way. Next. So this is a sample. This is something real at eBay. It happens. We build this, right? So next. We look at people's behavior data. Next. We look at people's demographics and interest data from external. Next. We look at people's value to eBay. And we look at people's attitude. And then you will, next, know who this person is. Next. And when you have both data and data science do their own work and marry them together, you will have a real business impact. Next. Next. Yeah, this is another real sample that at eBay. So just based on this simple data, we will be able to notice that for every single user, what is these people's most probably buying categories. And we will be able to personalize these people's experience and bring the business on eBay. Next. That's it. Just on time. Thank you. Seems like nobody left. Yeah, my colleague just joined me. Do I need to take any questions? Yeah.
Can you describe more about app store concept you described? So, for example, I'm generating email, right? Email job, right? Is working every day, right? So how they work? Should I subscribe my email application to somewhere and somebody approve it, and somebody also do some data sanity check? So how does that work?
Yeah, so I think the question is what does that mean for the analytics app store? So the answer, simple answer for that is yes. So basically what we do at eBay is that for whoever public any applications or any changes, there should be a first user experience process. Make sure that all the applications will have the similar user experience for analytics. Second is basically your underneath data and the business logic for you to produce data must be certified. We have a certification process for that. And you must register your metadata so that our metadata will be able to trace for both the backend data you produce and the front-end visualization you build and how to link them together. Yeah. Yeah.
What tools do you use to build the virtual data models?
What tool to use to build the virtual data mart? So that's pretty simple. Is because you basically just create. You have the cloud cluster. You basically just build your own provisioning tools so that you will be able to provision certain space for the user, and you should be able to manage them. Yeah, we don't use, this is very just a simple Java code and everything. You can build that by yourself. But the challenging part is basically how to manage the lifecycle for that, because people are very good to create something, but they never delete them. So we have an audit process automatically running to figure out if your data mart logic hasn't been changed for 3 months, there will be automatically generated ticket so that the engineer will come in to work with you to productionize them. But if your table in the virtual data mart has never been used for several months, we will force you to delete them. What's the question?
The various domains that make up the virtual data marts, how are you implementing master data management? Master data management.
Yeah, well, our virtual data mart, we don't manage metadata.
Pardon?
For the virtual data mart, we don't manage the metadata. We only manage the metadata. We only check the metadata for who owns that virtual data mart. Yeah.
Master data, master customer domain. How are you creating that? You go through a DQ firewall, right? And then in a DQ reconciliation.
Uh-huh.
Then how are you mastering the customer data domain?
You mean the metadata management? The master metadata management? Right?
Yeah, master domain, master entities.
So basically, we basically have our data architecture process. So basically, for everything you create in the warehouse, and for everything you create, doesn't matter is in the batch world or the real-time world, there is an architect standard for you to register your master data management, your metadata, business metadata, and the operation metadata. And then we have our system automatically trace your data lineage from both your source to the front end.
Are you using ab initio for the DQ and the lineage? Are you using it?
We build our own lineage. We cannot use ab initio because most of our ETL is free code format. We must do that by ourselves. Yeah. Sure.